Hello and welcome. Got your exams coming up? Well, you are in the perfect spot. Today, we're going to blitz through crop production and management. But look, instead of just a boring list of facts, we're going to follow the amazing journey of a crop, from just a tiny seed all the way to the food on your plate. You ready? Let's dive right in.
You know, it's something we probably don't think about much when we're eating, but the story behind it, it's a fantastic mix of science, a ton of hard work, and, of course, nature. This journey follows a really clear set of steps, and once you get these down, you're going to ace this chapter.
And here it is. This is our roadmap for the whole journey. These 7 practices are basically the backbone of all farming. We're going to walk through each one step by step, making sure it all makes perfect sense. So, let's get started with step 1.
Okay, first things first. You can't just toss some seeds on the ground and expect a miracle. A farmer's first and maybe most important job is to get the soil ready, to create the perfect home for the crop. This whole stage is about preparing the field for new life.
So, why go through all this trouble? Well, it's about way more than just digging. Loosening the soil is absolutely crucial. It lets the roots of the new plants stretch out and go deep into the ground. It allows air to get down to those roots so they can breathe, and it helps mix up all those good nutrients in the soil. Think of it like fluffing up your pillow before you go to sleep.
And the classic tool for this job? The plow. You've probably seen pictures of it. For literally thousands of years, farmers have used plows to turn and loosen the soil. It's that first fundamental step to creating the perfect bed for the seeds.
Next up, we've got the hoe. Now, what's neat about the hoe is that it's a 2-in-1 tool. It helps with loosening the soil even more, but it's also perfect for getting rid of weeds, those pesky unwanted plants we're going to talk more about in a bit.
And this is where modern tech really comes in. Today, most big farms use a cultivator. You attach it to a tractor, and it does the same job as a plow, but way faster and so much more efficiently. This is a huge deal because it saves farmers tons of time and energy, and it's a big reason we can grow enough food for everyone.
All right, our soil is perfectly prepped. Now we move on to the next really critical phase, sowing the seeds. This is literally where we plant the future, the potential for an amazing harvest. But wait, before we go on, let's just make sure we're all on the same page with a super important definition. What exactly is a crop? Simple. It's when plants of the same kind, like a field of wheat or a field of rice, are all grown together on a huge scale. One stalk of wheat is just a plant, but a whole field of it, now that's a crop.
Okay, listen up, because this is a big one for your exams. In India, we have 3 main crop seasons. You've got your Kharif crops, which are sown in the monsoon, think rice and maize. Then you have Rabi crops, which are the winter crops, like wheat. And finally, Zaid crops, which grow in that short summer window, like watermelons and cucumbers. Definitely try to remember the seasons and an example for each one.
So sowing is just the act of planting seeds. You can do it by hand, sure, but modern farming uses something called a seed drill. And this machine is a total game changer. Why? Because it puts every single seed at the exact right depth and the perfect distance apart. That precision stops the plants from getting overcrowded and gives every seed its best shot at growing. And that means a bigger harvest later.
So the seeds are in the ground, but our job is far from done. Now we get to the nurturing phase. This is where we give the growing plants everything they need to get big and strong.
Plants need food to grow, just like us, and they get that food from nutrients in the soil. So we help them out in 2 main ways. On one hand, you have manure. That's the all-natural, organic option made from animal and plant waste. It's amazing for the soil's health in the long run. On the other hand, you have fertilizers. These are man-made chemicals packed with specific nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. You'll see it called NPK, and they are designed to make plants grow really fast.
And of course, plants need water. We call this irrigation. Now, traditional methods have been around forever, but they can be a bit wasteful with water. Modern methods are way smarter. You've got sprinkler systems that act like artificial rain, and drip irrigation, which is incredible. It delivers water 1 drop at a time, right to the plant's roots. This is so important in a world where we need to save every drop of fresh water we can.
So our little plants are growing, but now they're facing new dangers. In this section, we're going to look at how farmers play defense and protect their crops from all sorts of threats.
Okay, so the best way to think about weeds is they're bullies. They're these unwanted plants that show up in the field and start a fight with our crop for all the good stuff: water, nutrients, sunlight, you name it. If you just let them grow,
They steal those resources, and that means you get a smaller harvest. So getting rid of them, or weeding, is super important.
And it's not just weeds. Crops also have to deal with pests and diseases. We're talking about insects, rats, and even tiny things like fungi and bacteria that can totally ruin a harvest. To fight back, farmers use things like pesticides and insecticides to protect the plants and make sure they stay healthy.
After all those months of hard work, preparation, we finally get to the best part of the whole journey, reaping the rewards. It's time to talk about the harvest.
Harvesting is pretty straightforward. It's the process of cutting and gathering the crop once it's all grown up and ready. This can be done the old-school way, by hand with a tool called a sickle, or with huge modern machines like a combine harvester that can clear an entire field in no time at all.
And all of this leads to one critical word: yield. The yield is the measure of success in farming. It's the total amount of crop you get from a certain piece of land. Honestly, every single thing we've talked about so far, from preparing the soil to fighting off pests, it's all done for one main reason: to get the biggest yield possible.
But hold on, the journey isn't quite over. After you cut the crop, you have to thresh it. That just means separating the part we eat, the grain, from the rest of the plant, like the stalks. And then, and this is so important, you have to store that grain properly, in a dry, safe place to protect it from moisture and pests so that all that hard work doesn't go to waste.
And there you have it, the entire journey, from an empty field to a full silo. It's a process that's been evolving for thousands of years, and it's still changing right now. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. With all this new technology like drones, AI, and robots, what do you think the farm of the future is going to look like? Hope this revision helped